Hello again everyone. So some of you may remember this IBM PS1 Pro from an early video where I managed to acquire a stash of IBM PCs, this being one of them, the other ones all being PS2 brands. So as part of the work I've done on that, I've been able to get one of the IBM PS2s to run with a 486 overdrive, which has been good news. So decided now this PS1 Pro is going to be a refurb and a sell. So this is going to be the start of that journey. As you can see, there's a little bit of work to do to tidy up the outside of the case, and I'll try and do my usual bits and pieces of dealing with any legacy spinning rust, and probably try and get some sort of networking established with it. So bear with me. Let's have a look at what else we've got. So one of the things I've done is put a SD card in, because you'll see the case itself is still a little grubby, still needs a bit of a sort of polish and a clean. So today's job is going to start that, start stripping it down, do some tests and verification of the power supply, etc. as we go, and deal with any issues. So without further ado, it's time to get the screwdriver out and see how we disassemble one of these. So in fairly typical manner for these IBM PCs, I'll start I think with the plastic bits and pieces. They should be fairly easy. PSU looks like it'll be a fairly easy removal as well. Just need to be careful with the plastic. Obviously this is quite old and might be a little brittle and tend to break. But apart from that, should be straightforward. The wonderful rocker switch cable for the power supply there. So that'll be a quick removal as well. I love that technology just being in place there. Alright, let's make a start. That's the front panel of it removed. Riser card and plastic came out without too much of an issue, which is good news. No breaks or snaps there. So onwards and upwards. So now the motherboard is clear. Having a quick inspection around. You can see it's a little bit dusty in places, but otherwise not too bad. Looking at the caps on the board, none of them look in bad condition. Can't see any obvious swelling or issues there. Yeah, so far everything looks in good order. Nothing to cause any concern, no leaks or any other issues. Coprocessor socket. Yeah, not quite sure what the jumpers on this board do, so I shan't mess with those too much. So probably just a good clean or dust off at least needed, I think. Yep, all looking okay. So now with everything out of the case is a little dusty, as you can see, but otherwise in good condition. Only problem with these type of cases sometimes is all the rivets, but a few dust bunnies to remove. Okay, so that's the case all cleaned and tidied up a little bit, and all the bits of dust removed. It wasn't too bad condition actually. For its age, it was quite clean inside, as you'll see from the previous videos, but that's all now been cleaned out with a little bit of the elbow grease. Other cleaners are of course available. That's just the one I tend to use for sort of cases, and the metal is quite good at getting some of the sort of greasy marks and things off. So that's all done and dusted. So I've also just taken the opportunity to do a backup of the BIOS ROM as well while the motherboard's out. So I created a copy of that, and then I think the next job is probably just to start checking a few of the components. I've had a visual look around the motherboard. I can't see any issue with any of the capacitors, but I'll probably, just for the sake of it, just crack open the PSU in a second and just have a look in there just in case there's anything lurking. But that's that bit of the case cleaning done. This was the power supply unit, Zytec EP71120. Like a lot of sort of some of the IBM PSUs around those times, it is actually welded shut, so I'm not potentially wanting to drill things out at this point to test things, so I'll probably just have to test it separately. I can't remember there being any problems with the output power voltages, so I think probably just the best thing to do is just give it a bit of a dust blowout, and then I'll just test it. If the output seems to be in the threshold, then I think I'm just going to leave that as it is, rather than potentially drilling out and ruining what otherwise is a period intact case. But, right, so give it a clean and a dust out at least, and then that can go back in. Okay, motherboard's ready for its clean. Just probably needs a good dust off, bit of IPA here and there. The Intel 386SX chip you can see on the board there is surface mounted, so nothing too much to worry about there. And yeah, after a good clean, it looks a lot better, so ready to go back into the case now. Okay, so the power supply is back in, and the motherboard is fitted as well. Just grabbed a spare hard disk just to put a bit of load on the power supply. It's not connected to the motherboard through a ribbon cable or anything like that. It is purely a power supply test. And I put my ISA card tester in, and we're plugged in and ready to test. So let's just check the power rails look okay. They might not come through awfully well, but yeah, those should be all the right LEDs. So, apologies for the flickering, but yeah, it's going through a boot sequence, which is good. So that's the initial test passed. On to the next. Okay, so one of my other diagnostic cards is the post-probe card that you can see now. I haven't changed the port settings to pick up the potential different ones, so ignore the digits on the left, they're not changing, but everything looks good. It's getting a good power signal on the LEDs, as you can see there, for each of the different rails. Apparently if they're not within 10% of the expected tolerance, they won't light, but doesn't actually show you a reading, just to give you an indication. But luckily there are the contact pads, which this has, where you can sort of just test some of the measures. So I'm going to just check what we're actually getting. So on the 5 volt row, 5108, that looks good. And then on the -5 we get, careful not to slip too much, on the -5, -4994, I'd be happy with that. I'll just change the rating for the next test. So in reverse order, +12, it's giving 12 dead, can't argue with that. And then -12 volts, -12.23, so I think that's all good as well. And looks like we're getting a healthy sequence. So I think the power supply in this is good, and sort of no issues coming through the board power supply either. Excellent. Okay, so that's most of the PC now reassembled. Dropped a network card in probably a little bit too early in the build in case there's any problems later, but I thought, while I got the case open, I'd check that. It's one of the network cards I was able to recently find in a bargain bin at the Retro Computer Museum jumble sale, so it's a good fit for this machine. So just need to sort out floppy disks and hard disk substitute now. I'll give the floppy disk a little bit of a service as well while it's out, just to check it's all working, put some fresh grease etc on it. So that's going to be the next job, probably tomorrow's job now, because it's approaching clocking off time, so to speak, here in the UK. So I'll leave it here today and rejoin it tomorrow. So the floppy disk unit, having a look inside, looked in good condition. Didn't really have to spend a lot of time in here. Just tested it, made sure it was clean, gave it a blowout with the duster, floppy disk cleaner, all the usual sort of bits really. Put a little bit of fresh grease on the sort of drive mechanism just to make sure that was running smooth, and you can sort of see the photo with sort of both sides. Yeah, nothing really to report with the floppy disk. I'll put that back in and that's good to go. So I just assembled this to be the replacement for the spinning rust hard disk for the PS1 Pro. So it was a caddy I had knocking around for something in one of these sort of IDE to SD card adapters. Didn't quite fit, as you can see. I managed to find one hole. It is quite snug in here anyway. I had to trim a little bit off there, but otherwise it's in. I've just put a couple of dabs of obligatory glue just at the back of the card just to give a little bit of firmness. But yeah, it'll slide in and out without moving. It will go in the machine sort of backwards, so we'll sort of have it sitting in that way. So will mean sort of taking the case off, but unless looking at the front panel, unless like say you built a custom insert for behind here in some way, there would be space underneath for it to go in the cage, but this one is just a blank one anyway. So ideally, I say if you were using it for lots of different purposes, you could buy one of those sort of IDE to compact flash adapters, but I think for this machine, for occasional use anyway, that would do. If I was using it for anything serious, I'd probably look at getting one of those compact flashes that are going to probably last a little bit longer than an SD card, but performance wise I don't think it'll make much difference for a 386 machine. So I can get that installed and cabled up, and then we're ready to start testing. I think I found a ISA sound card in a box. It's a sound blaster, so I might see if I can get that fitted in as well. We'll see how we go. So onwards and upwards. Okay, so finally finished the refurb of the PS1 Pro. So here it is, all ready for its sort of final testing. I've put a sound blaster card in it and a network card and one of those IDE to SD card adapters in it. I haven't bothered putting any overlay software or anything on that. I've just kept it as the sort of base standard 300 megabyte partition in the end. The 3Com card probably means if you wanted to, you could put an XT IDE boot prom in it and configure it all up. But until I know really what people use it for, if it's just basic DOS bits and pieces, this should be fine. So here's the little boot menu I put on it. So we'll just skip through those. So there's the sort of standard DOS only. See the Unisound driver loading. I put a little it doesn't play awfully well, I don't think, on one of these, but you can see it is detected by SB Play. It's not the best of quality, unfortunately, on this particular machine, but it works. That's the sound coming out the card. So that's that. What else have we got? I've configured it with the packet driver networking, so that should enable a sort of DHCP config to be pulled down once it's connected to somebody's network, like mine. So using the Malcolm's MTCP stack, could not set up packet driver. That's interesting. Divide overflow. 3Com. First time I've seen that one. Interesting. I shall go and have a quick look at that. Okay, so I reran the VCOM configuration utility. I'd moved the card in between the ISO sockets and the base unit before finally closing it down, so I don't know whether that confused something somewhere, but it does appear to be recognising again now, so let me just do a reboot. Never the most interesting of things when you're just waiting for things to appear. Yep, that seems to be working fine now. Great stuff. And what I've actually done, hunting around the net, there was an image of sort of the original IBM install disk, or hard disk install, should I say. Somebody kindly put on the interweb, so I have put that configuration onto the hard disk, which is the Windows 3.0 default and DOS based Microsoft Works. The original DOS 5 is also on the hard disk. I've left it in there in a folder, but I have installed IBM DOS 7.1 just for sort of future use, so that's all working. So yeah, Windows is up and running, so that's all good. So I shall probably leave it there for the next owner to decide what it is that they want to do with it next. So PC DOS is the directory with the version of PC DOS 7.1 on there. All the drivers, Works is on there. IBM DOS 5, that's the previous version, and all the Sound Blaster 16 drivers are all there. I've even put an image on there of the PS1 startup disk, which is in that folder, so you can write a new one of those, but I have created a floppy disk that I'll include with the machine as well. So that's it. I shall count this PS1 Pro as finished, and I'll now try and find its next owner. It's been fun. So on to the next one.